or whatever, when something happens, we store that emotion in our body. So just because our logic brain can rationalize it, actually the body is still holding on to something here because it felt horrible at the time. It's just having those tools in your toolbox to navigate through life, because my sister had got diagnosed with an illness that was terminal. She always sort of said, oh, when the kids are older, I'll go and do this. Oh, when this happens, I'll do that. Well, actually at 42, she passed away. So she didn't get to do all of those things.
Hi, Heidi. Welcome to the show today. Let's start. Provide me a bit of context to your life. What do I need to know about Heidi?
Oh, God, what do you need to know about me? Anyway, hi, first of all.
Hi.
So, yeah, what you see here today isn't how it's always been. I was always quite a shy person. Didn't really say boo to a goose. Was brought up being told little girls should be seen and not heard. And always kind of really struggled to be the person that kind of fit in. Always suffered with anxiety. So this version that you now see of me is someone that's done quite a lot of extensive work over these last sort of like 8 to 10 years to mold myself to be the person that I've needed to be to get through life, really. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
how did that go? You say you were always quite anxious, nervous, quiet. Like what? How did that change?
So I just kind of thought that that was normal for me to be quiet, anxious. This is how I am, and this is how it has to stay. Um, and then obviously I realised that actually it doesn't have to stay, and you can change.
Hmm.
And that I need to maybe change my mindset. And I'm not happy in where I'm at in life right now. And obviously, to have different, I've got to do different. But what do I do? And how it actually stemmed in the very beginning, so kind of go back 10 years, it was just a conversation that I had with my son, who is now 24. So he must have been about 14. And we were cleaning his football trophies. And he was like, where are all your trophies? And I was like, well, for what? And he was like, well, for all your things that you've done. And I was like, well, I don't think I've really done anything. I've got a badge to say I wore some pajamas and went down to the bottom of a pool and picked up a brick. And I've got some badges for like guides where I had to maybe do camping or iron a tea towel to get my housekeeping badge. And he looked at me quite disappointed. And I walked away thinking, oh, that wasn't great. That wasn't great. I'm going to need to do something. So I kind of racked my brain. What can I do? Because I want to get him a trophy. I want to show him that I can get a trophy and that I can do this. So
Yeah.
I signed up to the Hastings Half Marathon. But at that point, I was the person that hated PE at school. My mum used to write me letters. So now I'm a personal trainer. It's a little bit bizarre, really. But yeah, I was that person that never got picked first in any of the groups for PE or anything. So I was like, well, what can I do to get a trophy? Well, I guess I can run. Can I run? I don't know if I can run. Well, I presume I can. It's quite easy. Well, then I started training and realized it really wasn't easy and I hated running. But I did it. I got the trophy. Well, it was a medal, to be fair.
Yeah.
Gave it to him. He was proud. But I hadn't really got the trophy that I wanted to give him. It was just a bronze medal. So I joined a gym with the fitness levels that I'd got, went to the gym, started lifting weights. And that's where I took on a personal trainer. And he could see that, your body's starting to change. Have you ever thought of competing? And I was like, no. And obviously, I'm quite a shy person that lacks confidence. How the hell am I going to do this, But I thought, okay, I could get a trophy if I do it properly. So, yeah, just carried on at the gym and then did my first competition, actually placed and got to the British finals. So did quite a few other competitions in between. But, yeah, made it to the British finals, got my son a trophy. That was the start of it. And then I thought, actually, do you know what? I want to change my career because I was a science technician. And I realised I liked going to the gym. It started to build my confidence. But something I did learn, though, although it built my confidence, although I looked the best I've ever looked, I did feel the worst I ever felt within myself. I still wasn't happy. So those looks, losing weight or changing your physique, if you haven't got your mindset correct, I learned that, you're still going to be screwed.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Say that the episode that's going out the week before this, I was talking to a guy who was in the Marines, and he was sort of saying 80% mindset, 20% physical, because
Yeah.
it was, quite often, certainly in his sort of training and things like that, you felt I've done I can't do anymore. but you'd find something to push you forward. And a lot of the time, we've all had it, haven't we? Where we, one more rep, or you're on the treadmill and suddenly your favorite song comes on, and even though you thought you were done, you
Yeah.
manage another 3.5
You've
minutes or
got more
whatever.
there.
So it
Yeah.
is about your mindset, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So obviously, I was looking amazing. I was standing on a stage in a tiny bikini, fake tan, looking the part, but actually feeling like a rabbit in the headlights, feeling like I wanted to puke up, go to the toilet, every possible bodily function. And I thought, this isn't right. I've got to work on this. So I took on a life coach. But also at the same time, my sister had got diagnosed with an illness that was terminal, and she didn't have long to live either. So I took on a life coach to try and navigate that, but also to work on who I needed to now become. Because without my sister, who was my voice, she was the confident person. She was the one that was the life and soul of a party. And if I had a problem, I would go to her. She now is no longer here. And here I am, age 40, in quite a messed up state, navigating grief, but also not having that person that I would normally go to that would normally be the strength for me. So now I needed to find that inner strength myself. So I took on a coach to look at my mindset, to build my confidence, to be able to then do all those things that I wanted to do, because it showed me that life is really short. And there's so many things that I'm stopping myself from doing because of fear, because of lack of confidence, because of not feeling worthy. And if I want to live this life that I so desperately want to live for now, me and my sister, I now need to do something about it. So I took on a life coach, and we worked really hard on building my confidence, learning my self-worth, and just kind of changing who I was, which I think we go through life thinking, well, I don't need to change. This is who I am.
Yeah.
But actually, I like to see it as in, I'm not changing. I'm just adapting for now the next phase of life. Like an iPhone, it has an update. I've just had a big update, bit of a glow up, and here I am being the best version of me.
I mean, that's just brilliant, because clearly you'd worked on your body quite a lot, and you were competing, like you say, on stage. So what was the competition? What were they called? They were the
Bikini fitness. So
bikini
it's
thing.
kind of
Yeah.
like one down from bodybuilding. So like
Yeah.
normally it's physique where you've got to have big muscles. That wasn't the look I was necessarily going for. I had little baby muscles, but it was more about the feminine looking. Everything had to be in symmetry. Had to stand there in high heels, in a bikini, but it wasn't a great experience because you're being judged on your looks.
Yeah.
Judged by their opinion. Well, their opinion isn't necessarily your opinion. So I could look in the mirror and think, yeah, you're looking really good, the best you've ever looked. And then someone else is going to completely criticize you, completely, well, yeah, just demoralize you. And just one time, because I wasn't wearing the right color bikini, I didn't place because they said I looked better the month before in a green bikini, and red really wasn't for me. So you're really, you really pick that.
And I can see actually that actually messes with your mind, but actually from everyone else, they're thinking, wow, look at you up there. And I've had that before, where if everyone thinks you're smashing it but you don't feel you are yourself, it's actually really, it's almost more crippling than if you weren't putting yourself out there, because you're like, I don't feel like the person everyone thinks that I am.
Exactly. Got imposter syndrome already, and then you've
Yeah.
got someone else kind of judging you on that too.
Yeah.
And to be judged on your looks when maybe, I don't know, I'm saying as a woman, but obviously as a man as well, we navigate the way we look every day. Every time you look in the mirror, it could be a good
Yeah.
day, it could be a bad day. The mirror lies, or just maybe it's your mindset telling you these things. Who knows? But then to be judged as well, when actually you're thinking you're looking the best you've looked, you've got your hair looking good, you've got fake tan on. I've been on a diet for so long. I've got these muscles. And then, to be critiqued on the way that you look and it hasn't gone good. Yeah, it's quite a knockdown. It really is. So even after competing, trying to navigate that, because then you can kind of come away with it with not an eating disorder, although many do come away with an eating disorder. I was so strict on food that kind of like I had to then try and relax on that. And you pick up some really, I would say, bad habits because you're
Mm.
focusing on weighing food the whole time. You don't eat out in restaurants or anything because you've got to be so on point with your food. Um, so trying to find that balance,
Yeah.
navigating, it's quite a lot. But anyway, I
Yeah.
got the trophy. My son got the trophy. I got to hear him say how proud he was. That was the main reason. We've done it. And also now it helps with my career being a personal trainer and lifestyle coach. It helps that I've got my body to that level as well. So it served a
Yeah.
purpose. It served a purpose.
And it also helped you maybe understand some of those inner feelings and some of the bits in your mindset that you maybe have never have worked on. I've often spoke. I mean, I've done therapy, and I know lots of people who have, and they almost say part of it is a little bit uncomfortable because they start opening up things that you hadn't really considered before. And actually, this feels a bit icky, but you've almost got to get past that to then, unwrap it and understand, why do you feel like that? Why do we have that? And you
Oh,
read
God.
out a list there, and I'm sure lots of people listening will have done, but certainly even myself, confidence, and I was like, tick, 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 because so many of us suffer from those things.
Yeah, and that's why, obviously, going into personal training and studying for that, I didn't just want to be a normal personal trainer. Not that I'm putting down other personal trainers. Maybe they do this, I don't know. But
Yeah.
for me, I wanted to then do my life coaching course as well, because I recognized through it, having my own life coach, yeah, as you say, it's like an onion that you're forever peeling.
Yeah.
There's a layer, then there's another layer. Now, where
And there's often tears, you know.
exactly, many tears.
Yeah.
So, when someone comes to me saying they want to lose weight, that's not normally the problem. Being a size 12 will not make you feel any better. Being a size 10 will not make you feel any better. We need to look at the mindset. Why are
Mm.
you eating what you've eaten? Why are you drinking what you're drinking? What's got you to be overweight? There's obviously something there that's a little bit deeper. Now, you can come to me for an hour and I can personal train you, but what's going to happen for those other 23 hours of the day? I'm not there to move the cake out your hand or the drink. And I just know, yeah, there's more to it than just going to the gym, hours on a treadmill, or maybe just cutting the calories. It's not. You're going to put the weight back on unless you've dealt with your mindset. And that's where
Mm.
I kind of want to tap more into. And also I'm just going to say from a woman's point of view, because that's
Yeah.
me. As a woman, I feel, and maybe the same for you, I don't know, but as you grow older, you lose yourself a little bit because you're so involved with the children doing what they need to do. You're cooking foods that they want to eat. You're going to the cinema to watch films they want to watch. You're taking them to football practice, water polo, whatever it is, that you lose your own hobbies, you lose your own identity.
Mm.
And sometimes that's why we end up putting weight on, because we're just eating our feelings, because we get stuck in a rut that's just, I don't know, a hamster wheel going round, going to work, sorting the kids out, watching the soaps of an evening, and then going to bed and redoing it all again, And I think
Yeah.
this is why a lot of people sit and drink a glass of wine every evening, or, overconsume on the calories, because we now need to look at, let's find your identity. Who are you as a woman or a man? What hobbies do you have? What do you like to do? And then when you start talking, they're like, oh, I haven't done anything for years for myself,
Mm.
Well, how are you? Where's your outlet for stress? What do you do to kind of, come away from the family? So, it's a whole big picture to look at. And that's kind of like the route that I like to take.
Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. I mean, I'm in my 40s now, and you do, once you've had kids and that, and I've heard this from other people as well, is you almost you lose your identity as to what you are, and you become mum and dad, and and actually, kids now have so much that they do as well. I'm
Mhm.
sure I never did as much when I was younger. Maybe I did. I suppose I did do scouts and a few sports bits, but
Yeah.
it seems like you just become a taxi driver to take them to one club to another. You're working as well, and I get it. You get home, it's 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and you're like, you know what? I just want to sit on the sofa and consume some rubbish and eat a bit of comfort food, because you're physically and mentally drained from that day. So
Yeah.
I guess it's finding the time, well, understanding what you want to do, and then making sure that's scheduled into your day.
I was just about to say scheduling. That's a big thing, because we're not
Yeah.
always going to have the time, but we have to make time for ourselves, because as cliche as it sounds, you have to be selfish to be you've got to
Mhm. Yeah.
be, you've got to put yourself first, because otherwise, how can you give from an empty tank? And if you're just coming at your kids from a stressful state, I know this. I wish I'd done this a lot sooner, because my son sees a completely different version of me now to what I was when he was like growing up, and certainly in his teenage years of me shouting at him. Whereas I know now to navigate that better. I know how to
Mm.
communicate better. I know how to deal with stress better, what's in my toolbox. I've also trained as a breathwork facilitator now, because I've learned through breathwork, oh, it releases so much.
Yeah.
So it's just having those tools in your toolbox to navigate through life, because, well, yeah, there's always something happening in life, whether it's something you think is really major happening, or whether it's just like now my car has got the engine management light on and everything's going wrong. But trying to navigate that whilst trying to run a house, run a business, it's hard work. So with
Yeah.
lots of these tools in our toolbox, it can kind of make life a little bit easier.
Yeah, life is full of stuff, isn't it? You know, we are constantly connected. There's new content to consume. There's, you know,
Yes.
friends that we don't see, but we say we should see. And it's just almost endless that
Yes.
actually scheduling time is really important because otherwise life will just run away. You will be busy, even if you've got nothing on.
Yes.
So you might as well schedule some of those important things in.
Exactly, but something I've really tried to do is learn to slow down in my life, which isn't
Mm,
always easy running your own business. But I've really learned to try and just slow down and be. Because what did we used to do before we had phones? We'd be sat in the bath with our phone, like now. But I used to think,
yeah,
what did we used to do in the bath before I had my phone?
I know.
Just sit there and relax, wouldn't you? And your mind would be switched off. Whereas now, as you say, we're overlooking, we're always like everything's bombarded. We're either watching a podcast, listening to a podcast, or watching something on an iPad. We're walking around looking at our phone. There's always 10,000 things we're trying to do instead of just being in the present moment. So, yeah, so I've really tried to sort of take a more spiritual route in life, meditation, cold water swimming, breath work. It's something that's just I've had to do to navigate grief, and life. So, but it's
Yeah.
having to tap in and look at what do I need? What do I need to
Yeah.
get through?
Do you find that that grief has really pushed you? You've had to deal with it in this way.
It's been my catalyst, and as much as I say this quite often, and I know my sister's gonna be looking down saying, "Fuck you," through her dying, my life's so much better. And I know that sounds it sounds horrible to say, but it really has because as I say, it's made me change my mindset, it's made me take on a life coach, it's made me set up my own business. Since she's been passed away 8 years. In this last 8 years, I went to Africa and worked for a charity. I've had lots of things come at me that I've took on and done, as opposed to before I probably would have gone, oh no, that's not for me. Oh no, the likes of me
Mm,
don't, things like that. But yeah, it's made me have to look at myself. What do I need to change? Because she always sort of said, oh, when the kids are older, I'll go and do this. Oh, when this happens, I'll do that. Well, actually, at 42, she passed away. So she didn't get to do all of those things. So
mm,
I now need to do these things. What a privilege. I haven't got to do them. I get to do them. So let's bloody do them. So yeah, I've
yeah,
jumped out of an aeroplane. I've climbed Snowdon. There's all these things that I probably wouldn't have done. And not to say I found them easy. I was crying as I walked Snowdon up that final bit because that petrified me. But at least I can say I've done it.
yeah.
I felt the fear and I did it anyway. Whereas the old me probably wouldn't even have done that at all. So yeah,
No,
through her death, it has made my life become richer. Yes, I don't have her. But again, that's where the spirituality has come in. I really do now believe that obviously she hasn't gone anywhere. I just can't physically see her. She's very much there, very much guiding me. You've just got to look out for the signs. You've just got to be very present and know that she's,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you think that being present helps? Because actually, that's a big thing that I've often struggled with. You know, I'm always yeah, I do sort of live in the past, live in the future, and forget about the present moment, and therefore I probably miss some of the lovely things that happen.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Now, I read a book. I don't know if you've heard about it by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. If you
Yes,
haven't read it, oh, you
yeah,
must. Yeah. So for anyone listening, go and get that book because it really was a game changer. Because especially someone that I'd say suffers with anxiety, I don't suffer anymore. Yes, we still have it, but I know how to navigate it. And certainly through this
mm,
book, it teaches you where is your brain right now? Because when we've got anxiety, it's because we're either thinking too far in the future. What have we got to do? What's going to happen at Christmas? What's going to happen next year now that I'm not doing this? We're always overthinking things. Whereas this book really just brings you back to, but what is happening right now? How are you feeling right now? What's happening
mm,
now? Like I was nervous to come on here, not going to lie. But, now I'm here. Actually, I'm fine and I'm having a good
yeah,
time. This is a lovely chat. So it's always about bringing yourself back to now. So even like what's going to happen at Christmas? What's going to happen next year? Yeah, I know. But what's happening today? Well,
mm,
actually, today's fine. Well, that's all we've got to navigate. Just put one foot in front of the other and breathe today. Get today done. And then by the end of the day, you look back and you think, actually, yeah, today was fine. Yeah, we've got this. So quite often, yeah, when you're feeling anxious, it's because you're thinking of something that hasn't even happened,
yeah,
overthinking it, worrying about it. But actually, let's bring ourselves back to the present moment. How are we feeling right now? Is there a solution to the problem? If there's not, let's just make best of the situation. But this is the situation we're in.
Yeah.
Let's just navigate it the best we can.
Yeah, and I guess sort of, yeah, I always try and look at the evidence, because quite often when I get anxious about something, it's something that I have done before or whatever, and I sort of think, well, actually, what happened? When actually I look at it was fine.
Yeah.
You know, so why am I getting so anxious? And it is that trying to just reframe and I guess understand what those anxious feelings are,
Yeah.
and that it can be quite normal. So how do you adapt?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's there to protect us, but we don't need protecting like we did years and years ago when there was
No.
saber-toothed tigers. It's slightly different now. We seem to worry, who's that phoning me? These are not
Yes.
life or death
You
situations.
stare at your phone, looking at the number, going, I don't know the number. Or even if you do know the number and it says who it is, you're like, why are they calling me? What do they
Yeah.
want? Just answer it. And then you'll know, won't you? Crazy, isn't it? But coming back to what you said, where's the evidence? Because quite often it's our brain wants to keep us safe and it tells you all those worst case scenarios of why you shouldn't do something. But actually,
Mm.
where's the evidence? When I've done this before, oh, I nailed it. So
Yeah.
actually it was fine, as I say, I was a little bit nervous coming on here, but I have done a podcast before with someone else and it went well.
Yeah.
Actually, where's the evidence? Because obviously my brain is saying, oh my God, he's going to ask you questions that you're not going to be able to answer. What if you just don't gel with him whilst you're talking? Oh my God, what if you fall off your stool? All these crazy little thoughts, But
Yeah.
actually, where's the evidence? Because last time you did it, everything went really well. You nailed it. There you go, And if
Yeah.
you don't have any evidence, well, then we've got nothing to go by. So why have you got all of these worst case scenarios? That hasn't happened. So let's just wait
Yeah.
till it does. Then we'll address it if it does. Crazy, isn't it?
Completely. Yeah, it is crazy. Now, there's a couple of things I do. I mean, I do a bit of cold water therapy as well. I've been in my ice bath this morning, but you spoke
Ah,
about breath work, and it's something I haven't overly explored, but I know little bit about. I mean, talk me through breath work. What's the benefit and things like that?
So there's so many different types of breath work that you can do. So obviously just before coming on here, just to do a bit of box breathing where you breathe 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds, hold. And just to repeat that, it's just going to calm the body, calm the nervous
Mm.
system. So you've got lots of different types for stress, anxiety, things like that. But the one that I particularly like, which is what made me want to train in it myself, is conscious connective breath work, which is a breath work that you do. And obviously in the title, connected, you
Mm.
don't stop. Once you start, you don't stop. And you do this certain type of breath work and it taps you out of your brain into your body. So you're now not really thinking about everyday things. You've gone into your body. And what it does is it releases any emotion that's stored within your body. So before you know it, you could be crying, you could be laughing. Anything could happen. Shaking, could go hot, could go cold. And then at the end, I like to do a scream with my clients. So it's breathwork for emotional release. So
Um,
when something happens, not necessarily when you're younger, well, it could have been when you were younger, when you were older, whatever, when something happens, we store that emotion in our body. So just because our logic brain can rationalize it and go, look, it happened and I'm okay about it. It is what it is, isn't it? Actually, the body is still holding on to something here because it felt
mm,
horrible at the time. And we now need to navigate through that because, as they say, dis-ease in the body causes disease. So unless we
yeah.
release that uncomfortableness that's in our body, or that trapped energy, then yeah, it's going to manifest as an illness later on in life, possibly. So we really need to look into, why is our body feeling this way when we're feeling triggered, when we're communicating with someone and we're always angry? That's normally stems from something that's possibly happened before that you've now
Yeah.
said, oh, it's okay. Well, actually, it's not okay. It's just now stored in your body and it's coming out in a negative way. And you need to address that. So breath work for emotional release. Even on those days where I've thought, I'm going to do breath work today. I'm not doing it because there's a problem. We're just doing it because I like to do it once a week. So, don't know what's going to come up. Something always comes up that you think, oh, I didn't even know that was a problem. Oh, that comment my
Mm,
dad said to me when I was young, that was really annoying. Here I am crying about it. But
yeah.
I haven't been thinking about it during the day. But sometimes, as a child, when something happens, we can't articulate it because we were only young, but we've
Yeah.
still got that feeling in our body. And then once we've tapped into our body and we're doing this conscious connective breath, it all comes up. And before we know it, we're crying and then we can scream it out at the end. And just move on from those feelings.
Yeah, the way our body sort of stores stuff, and quite often I think, like you say, it buries it because it's trying to protect us.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it comes out in unhealthy ways.
Mhm.
It's quite, whereas I suppose this is more of a, a healthy release of
Yeah.
that, rather than, I mean, you hear about it all the time, whether it's, drinking or affairs or abuse or whatever.
Yeah.
Often it stems from something that happened to that person
Yeah.
in early life, and their body has sort of stored it.
Yeah.
And it's,
And
yeah, just trying to understand that.
And certainly for men, I love it if I've got a man that comes to my breathwork class because, yeah, I just think, especially like back in the day, men were told to hold their emotions and,
Yeah.
don't cry. You're strong. You're a tough lad. Come on, hold it in. And actually, they're the ones that need to cry. They're the ones that need to release because I don't know. I can only talk about me, but I love a good cry. I could tell you that, like, I just feel a bit poorly. I'll cry as I'm telling you, I feel ill. I love to cry. But that's not always the case for some people. And it's giving that safe space to be able to just let the emotions out or just to release any stress of the week and have a scream at
Mm.
the end. It's such a cathartic thing to do, to have a cry, have a scream, and then go, I feel so much better now. That was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting what you say about men, because I mean, that obviously there's lots of been talk about it, because of the suicide rates amongst men
Mhm.
is huge. And
Yeah.
men and women, I think we suffer from lots of the same things. We just have dealt with it differently over the years. But actually we can all benefit from these things. I mean, like you say, men very much, we're sort of brought up where, tough, hold it all together, don't show any emotion.
Yeah.
But actually then it just gets released in other ways, with
Yeah.
drinking, fighting, whatever it is. It's not a
Exactly. So
healthy
that's
way.
where it then comes as a 360 back to me, not just being a personal trainer, because obviously, yeah, this is why many of us are drinking alcohol, over consuming calories, not feeling happy within ourselves. It's not just about someone saying, oh, I'm getting a personal trainer because I'm overweight and I'm not feeling good about myself. That's not what it is.
No, no, it's
Mm.
it is about adapting your mindset to, yeah, understand why you feel like you do.
Mm.
And I've often seen it where, why am I going to the gym? And actually now I probably go for a different reason than I used to when I was younger.
Yeah.
And actually I'm probably more aware of myself, and I want my body to still be active in years to come.
Mm. Mm.
But actually, it was probably purely to look better in a t-shirt, when I was 20, which, rightly or wrongly, but that was the thing. I was a man. I wanted to
Serves
go
a
to the
purpose.
pub
That
and
is
have
fine.
bigger biceps,
Yeah. Yeah. But that's where you were at that age. But as you
Yeah.
get older, I think you then come to realize that actually this is really good for my mindset. Actually, although I don't necessarily want to do it, I feel amazing afterwards.
Yeah.
You get out of bed. I know I do as I'm getting a bit older. You get out of bed and you think, oh gosh, everything's hurting.
Yeah.
That's why we need to look after our body because I've got clients that are 84 and 85 and they say the most simplest thing. She comes in and she says, guess what? I put on my knickers without wobbling and without falling over. But like we take these things for granted now that we
Yeah.
can put on our underwear or we can just bend down to do our shoelaces up. That might
Yeah.
not be the case as we get older.
No.
And that's why we now need to look after ourselves. It's kind of it has to be a lifestyle and it should be something that
Mm.
we should just learn at school that not just that this is we've got to do PE because I know it's obviously it was in the criteria PE, but it was never
Yeah.
really made fun or exciting, or it wasn't for me. And we had to have showers at the end, so that's why most girls tried to get out of it because who wants to strip naked to have a shower in front of everyone?
Yeah.
Whereas now I just think they need to put such a different element onto it that actually this is just something you do for life. Like you invest money into the bank for the future, you need to
Mm.
invest in your health bank. So every day you must move the body by whatever means. And you do whatever you want to do, whether that is football, whether it's rugby, whether it's in the gym. But every day there must be some moment in your day that is about movement. But I don't
Yeah.
think you're necessarily told that for that particular reason and why.
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on, putting money away or exercise, and very much, the school system is designed. It delivers, some great results maybe on certain exams, but doesn't set us up for many of the things actually we need for life and
Well,
later
that's another
life. And
story, isn't it?
I mean,
Yes.
it is another story, and I don't know how to change it exactly, but there certainly needs to be a better understanding of an active lifestyle, because it's so good for your
Lifestyle.
mindset.
Yeah, or just even having mindset lessons, which I think they're starting to do that in schools now, or I hope so.
Yeah.
But it was never a case of talking about awareness of what you're thinking. Is your brain telling you the truth? Are you being your
Mm.
own best friend? Are you being your own cheerleader? Let's look at what you're thinking. We're not told that, are we?
No,
And it's not
No,
until
no.
I've done all of this extensive work that, yeah, maybe it's a bit of a curse now because sometimes I'm too aware of what's happening in my brain. Then I end up having a conversation to myself like, why would you say that? And then I'm like, what? Say what? And I'm like, well, what you've just said. And then I'm like, who are you talking to? You're talking to yourself. And I'm like, yes, I'm talking to you. Why did you say that? And then I'm like, I think I'm going a bit nutty. I think I'm losing the plot. But I think we were told, like that little old lady that's walking along the street chatting away to herself. Oh, she's lost the plot. She's talking to herself. But actually, I think we should constantly talk to ourselves.
Mm,
Check in. How are you feeling today? I feel pretty damn good. Great. Okay, how'd you feel today? Not so good. Well, what do you need? Well, I think I just need a bath. I need to have a nice chilled moment. Okay, let's do that then.
yeah. Yeah. Have you slept? Have you eaten well? Have you
Yeah.
drunk enough water? Like start checking in on yourself. I love that the sort of talking to yourself. I often have it, and what I've started to do is because my mind's very active, and I'll often wake up 4 a.m. and I'll be having all these thoughts, and I do literally sort of say to myself, look, cool, I understand that, not now. Okay,
Yes.
I'm now sleeping. We'll think about that tomorrow. And
Yeah.
it sounds bizarre talking to yourself like
No,
that.
but you have to do that, and especially when I set up my own business, I'd wake up at like 3 a.m. How can I carry this going? How can I remain successful? Oh my God, it's all going to fall apart. Yeah, but Heidi, we don't need to talk about it now.
No.
Yeah, but I want to because it's in my mind. Yeah, I know. But right now you're sleeping, and right now
Mm,
your business is going really well. So let's think
yeah.
about it in the morning. Let's not think about it now. Huh, okay. But then it doesn't stop. I'm like, yeah, but hang on a minute. No, we've got this. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. We are going to tap on this tomorrow and we're going to have a plan of action to keep this successful. But right now, we're going to get sleep. Okay. Okay, I can do that. But yeah, it's having that awareness, isn't it? Because otherwise,
Yeah.
many of my clients are like, I've been awake all night. My brain just wouldn't switch off and I've been thinking this and thinking that. But it's having that extra step, that extra awareness to then self-soothe, calm yourself down. Like, it's
Mm.
okay. I've got you. We're going to look at that, but we don't need to look at it right now. We have a plan of action and we're going to have a meeting with someone tomorrow about your business with a social media person. So it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
It is
Oh,
that,
it's
being
work
able
is,
to self-soothe though is, you know,
yeah.
it's a superpower, but I guess it's finding what works for you because, so where would you say someone should say? Because I mean, I love my ice bath. We've spoken about breath work, spoken about meditation, where does someone start who's just feeling a bit overwhelmed with everything? Because quite often you can't say what you're overwhelmed with. You're
No.
just it's all going on. I don't,
Yes.
and you don't really know where to start. How do you get that first? Okay,
And also
calm down
when
and
you're
find something
feeling
out.
well, and also when you're feeling overwhelmed, there's no point me then saying, right, and I want you to do this, 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 this. Because they're already feeling overwhelmed. And now I've given them a list of things to do. So all I do is start with my client and just say, can you get up just 10 minutes earlier? 10 minutes earlier than your alarm and just have 10 minutes for you before your day starts. That's all I want you to do. I don't want you to do anything
Mm,
above and beyond right now. We're not changing diet. We're not changing anything. You're just going to turn off your 2 sessions with me and you're going to get up 10 minutes earlier, literally just to have a coffee or a cup of tea, whatever it is you drink, but you're just going to have it on your own in peace and quiet without your phone, without
mm,
anything. Can you do that? Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, well, that's all I want you to do this week then. That's all I want you to do. And they're like, oh, right, okay. And then on our next meeting, I'll be like, right, what are the thoughts that have come into your head, because then we can start working on that. And
yeah.
then we habit stack. So then the following week, I do sort of say to them, this isn't how it's going to stay. But then the
No.
following week, I say, right, now I would like you to have a look at your watch. If it tracks your steps, can we just see what steps are you getting up to? Okay, could we just add an extra 1,000 on? Could we go for a
Mm,
walk? Could we make that 10 minutes early going for a walk? Put your
yeah.
coffee in a takeaway cup and let's just get outside, have some fresh air. Whether it's raining, whether it's windy, let's just get out, fresh air, and just have that moment to you, but getting some steps in. Because there's so much power in just walking and being out
Mm,
in nature. We don't need to be on a treadmill for hours. We don't need to be going for a run. Walking is just so powerful and anyone can do it at any size, any weight. And it's just having that time for you to walk, be out in nature, be out in that fresh air, get in those steps in. And before you know it, if that's just part of your lifestyle of being more active, then you're going to potentially lose the weight or your mindset's going to feel better. But it's just making that time
yeah.
for you to have. And I'm not asking you to get up an hour earlier because who's going to do that? But it's just a case of go to bed 10 minutes earlier and let's just get up 10 minutes earlier. but I do want you to get up when your alarm clock goes off. Don't snooze it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That grabbing that little bit first thing in the morning,
Oh,
before the rest of the day gets to eat you up because it runs away. Actually,
mm,
you've had that little win, and I guess that's part of it. Sometimes we think massive, big picture, but actually we just need
no.
some little wins and then stack them.
Well, they all compound together, those little wins. And if we can do
Mm,
something small every day, that's what's gonna, that's what's gonna build. Whereas if you do something just, well, we all go all in with something and we're like, yeah, I can do this. Well, actually, the reality is you can't. You went in too hard. You can't sustain that. So you're not going to. So then you're not going to get those results. Whereas if we just do
mm,
something that we can now do daily, yeah, that's fine. I can daily do that. It's classed as if you've got a step count on your watch, anything less than 6,000 steps is classed as a sedentary person. No, I don't know who said that. It's just the
it
government
is.
kind of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
website somewhere. But anything less than 6,000 is classed as a sedentary person. And when I start with a client, most people aren't getting that. They're not.
No.
We're now a nation that are pretty much working from home, or we've all got cars. We all park as near as we can to wherever we're going. If we are working from home, we're now not walking to the station. We're not walking from the
Mm,
car park. We're not walking to the photocopier, the toilet, wherever.
yeah.
So everyone's just being so sedentary. So anything less than 6,000 steps is classed as a sedentary person. So just by getting them up to that 6 or 7 or even 8, if we can, then they're going to feel so much different anyway. Their body's going to move differently.
Yeah, that's an incredible stat.
Mm.
Yeah, because I heard a stat a while ago that it's like because they say get your 10,000 steps. Almost like you go back 100 years, like 20,000 was an average, just people
Yeah.
going to work.
Well,
Not even trying.
no,
But
no.
but now we have to try to get to 10,000.
Well, it's quite hard. It is quite hard if
Yeah.
you go straight to your car that's parked right on your driveway, and then you
Yep.
park right to the nearest space because we all drive around wanting that nearest space to the door.
Yeah.
We drop our kids off where they need to go, and especially as your kids get older, we're now potentially not going to the football pitch. We're just dropping them off.
No.
We're not going to the park and kicking a ball around with them. They're going with their mates. So that's
Yeah.
why, when a lot of people come to me, they're saying, I've hit menopause and I've put in the weight on. Okay, that is a factor. But it also is a factor that your lifestyle has changed. Your kids are older now. You're not being as active as you used to be, running around after a 2-year-old or taking a 10-year-old
Mm,
to a football or to a party that now you're having to dance with them on the dance floor to, just to help them out.
yeah.
So life is more sedentary as you get older. People are watching
Yeah.
season upon season on Netflix. So you've got time to do that, but you haven't got time to go for a walk. Oh, okay, then,
Okay. Yeah.
You've got to call yourself out for your own shit. And
Yeah.
thing that I like to say is look after the basics and the basics will look after you. And the basics being quite basic. Up your water intake, up your activity levels. So let's just get in an extra 1,000 steps if that's what you can fit in. Sleep, good quality sleep. Let's not sit
Mm,
up scrolling on our phone because we all know we go to bed at like 10, but then we scroll for another hour. Put the phone down. So good quality sleep, water moves the body. You look after those basics and the basics are going to look after you. And whenever I talk to a client who's saying, I'm feeling so stressed, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling whatever. And I'm like, okay, are you still doing your basics? No, they went out the window because I got busy and then I was doing this, I was doing that. Right. Go back, rewind,
mm,
go back to your basics. That's all you've got to do. You know that, and they're not difficult basics, but you have just got
no.
a glass of water on the side because if it's out of sight, it will be out of mind. You
Yeah.
have to maybe have the step count that you can then refer back to because we can all say, yeah, I think I've walked about 10K steps. No, darling, you've walked 2.
Yeah.
So
Look at the evidence. Yeah.
exactly. So yes, it is just about coming back to the basics and the basics will look after you and stop overcomplicating it because it doesn't have to be that overcomplicated. Well, I don't know what to do when I get to the gym. Haven't really got the money for the membership. We're all adding in these excuses of why we can't. Well, actually, it's free just to go for a little walk.
Yeah.
It's free to drink some water. It's free to go to bed. Well, I know I don't even have to be asked to go to bed. Like if someone was to say to me, go to bed at 9 tonight, I'd be like, yes, thank you.
Yeah. It used to be a punishment as a child, didn't it?
I
Now
know,
it's like, woo, I
I
can go
know.
to bed early.
Now my son is up till 1 in the morning and I'm like at 9 o'clock going, night then.
Yeah.
"You had a bed already?" I'm like, "Yeah, thank you."
Oh,
Yeah.
Heidi, your insights today have been absolutely brilliant. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Just to finish off today, like what's next for you then? Because you've gone through lots of changes, lots of development. You seem to like you're adding stuff on. What's
Mm.
the next 5 years looking like?
So, I don't have a 5-year plan because that's gonna make me anxious.
Yep. I like
Um,
it. Yep.
yeah. And to be fair, since lockdown, when I set up my own business, because I was made redundant in lockdown, I was managing a gym. Got made redundant, and then obviously my back was put up against the wall, so I set up my own business. Well, fitness back then in lockdown kind of went everyone was into fitness because obviously they had so
Yeah.
much time. So I've actually been flat out since 2020. So I'm feeling like I need a break. So when everyone's like, "What's your 5-year plan?" I'm like, "Oh, am I I'm surely I'm time to retire, aren't I?" We're not quite there yet. But really, my next 5-year plan is trying to work out something so that I can slow down a bit.
Mm,
I'd like to take the foot off the pedal really and make more time for me to enjoy the life that, I've worked on so hard to create. So I'd like to think that I've put a lot of things in the right places, um, that hopefully I can do that. But also I'm just trying to navigate my diary at the moment, giving myself sort of some afternoons off, which actually didn't
mm.
used to sit right with me. I'd feel really guilty running your own business. I'd
Yeah.
feel really guilty if I was sat doing nothing because I'd feel like I should be doing something, even if it's just a social media post or emailing someone or chasing up some
Yeah.
money or chasing up the next client. But yeah, sometimes I just think like I start at 6 in the morning with my clients. So actually, if I finish at 1, 2, well, let's just have I got the afternoon off or actually am I just doing working hours? Like,
Yeah.
well, what I'm doing now is just navigating on not feeling guilty for doing nothing. And actually, there's got to be some
Mm,
perks to being your own boss. There's got to be
yeah.
those perks because I think when you get to be your own boss, sometimes what you think, oh, I'm going to have so much time freedom. Actually, no, you just work from morning to night because there's no switch off because you're not really. I work from home. So I've
Yep.
always got my phone or my laptop with me. Whereas if
Mm.
I was working in a gym, I'd leave. Done. I'd have holiday and I wouldn't even think about it. Whereas now I go on holiday and I'm like, oh, okay, will I lose all my clients by the time I get back? Will they
Yeah.
still be with me? I'm still checking in with them to keep them happy instead of switching
Yeah.
off. So really, that's my next phase to try and not slow business down as in I want it to fall apart because
No,
that's my
no, no.
but maybe just to try and find a nice healthy balance. Um, Maybe to do some online kind of courses that actually can be making money alongside me not having to put in the hours. Um, but yeah, it's just hard work, isn't it? Trying to navigate what is your next step? What do I need to do?
Yeah.
And then finding time to do that whilst trying to do all of this. It's like, how do I slow down when actually I've got to put in place these online courses to be able to slow down? That makes me busier. So,
Yes.
to your answer, I'd love to just slow down a little bit and be able to practice a little bit of what I preach more because it's all great.
Yeah, actually, that's really important. Like, I'm really, conscious that I have to sort of say to other people, like I am good at giving advice, but please don't think I'm perfect and I do all of this all the time.
No.
It's just I'm speaking to myself as much as I am speaking to you because
Uh,
yes, I have late nights, I have a few beers, have had a big meal. Like I do these things, I don't go to the gym every day, but I just try and do what I can.
and that's all you can do, isn't it? Just try to do what you can. But that's
Yeah.
why I like to show kind of my authentic self on social media, which sometimes I do think, did I just say that? Did I really put that video out? Did I need to tell them that? But actually, I just think I'd rather they know what actually I'm navigating, how I'm
Yeah.
navigating through it. So I might not necessarily talk about it in the present moment whilst I'm not going through it, but I'll
No.
certainly then sort of like, oh, last month I was going through this. This is what
Mm.
happened. Everything fell apart, but here I was. So I do like to sort of tap into, yeah, what actually is going on as opposed to what social media wants to portray and show, because
Mm.
I think that's a lot of the problems for a lot of
Yes.
people. We're looking at social media, comparing our life to someone else's highlights.
Yeah.
And we all
Y
know that maybe you wasn't there with your partner having a good time. You probably had an argument before you arrived there. He's got you flowers because he did something, like you had a row. But
yeah.
obviously we're just seeing the flowers thinking, oh, he's so romantic. Why is my man not like that? But actually, we don't know the backstory.
No.
So, yeah, so I try and show my authentic self. And I think maybe that's the case of why I I've been so successful, because people can relate and they do know that I am just that normal, down-to-earth person that is just trying to navigate going to the gym, running a business, got a child that's maybe going through whatever, So I'm
Yeah.
openly honest with it all.
Yeah, I think that's just such a superpower because exactly like you say, it's all right. You can work on yourself to try and feel better about yourself. But if you're comparing yourself to things that are completely unrealistic, then you can't, because then other people aren't showing that the piling and washing they got to do, the car's broken,
Yeah.
the argument they've had. They're
Yeah.
they're showing that the clean house and the brand new car and all of this.
Yeah.
And that's just not real life 24/7.
No, certainly not, is it? No.
No, no.
Yes, this adulting malarkey isn't for the faint-hearted. So what I
It
do, I give you the
would not recommend.
no, do not recommend. Yeah, so I just tools and the techniques to navigate that the best we can, and to have a life that's fulfilled, and I think so many people have got so much more potential than they give themselves credit for. So that's what my role is just to help you find that potential and go and live that life that, you deserve.
Heidi, thank you so much for the conversation today. I've absolutely
Thank
loved chatting
you.
to you. I wish you all the best in some of the future bits, and
Thank you.
certainly the work you're doing with people is fantastic. So
Thank you.
it's brilliant. So thank you once again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will do. Thank you. You too.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Balanced Ambition podcast. I genuinely hope the stories inspire you as much as they inspire me. If you found value in today's conversation, please share it with a friend. And remember, by subscribing, you won't miss an episode, and it would truly mean the world to me. Stay balanced, and I'll see you next time.